happy to see, happy to be with you today. Used to think that I had to, used to think that I should. Spirit told me that I had to be good. And I love because I want to, I love because I'm free. Blinded by the Spirit, oh Lord, Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, yeah. Oh, Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Don't need any pardoning, don't need any law. Wanna sing with all my heart, that God is my all in all. Let go of my burdens, loving God has made me free. Blinded by the Spirit, oh Lord, Spirit of God is upon me, oh. You can sing it home. Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, oh, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, yeah, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Come on, kid. Thought it was my duty, thought it was my job. Somewhere I believed loving God would be hard. Loving God is wonderful, loving God is ecstasy. Thank God for freedom. Don't you know, Spirit of God is upon me, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, yeah, oh. Don't you know, upon you, yeah, oh. Every day, every way, oh. Spirit of God is upon me, oh. OCSL family, I'd like to introduce Robert Leeds.
Thanks to our outstanding musicians today, Kev Choice on keyboards and Omega Ray on vocals. What more do we need? Good morning and welcome to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, where we teach spiritual principles and practices that remind us that we are the loving manifestations of a magnificently creative universe that always supports us and with which we co-create our lives. I'm your host, Robert Leeds, And it is the very merry month of May. And it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Did you know that Mr. Rogers and I have the same birthday? It's true. That explains a lot. Although I can't rock a cardigan the way he could. Welcome to all of you joining us via Zoom today, and a special welcome to those of you who are here joining us for the very first time on a Sunday morning. If you'd like additional information about our center, you can look at our website, oaklandcsl.org, or send an email to Constance Chapman, our administrative coordinator, at constance@oaklandcsl.org. Now, since we're in the Zoomiverse, I invite you to please take a moment to make sure your Zoom microphone is muted and your video is turned off so we can maximize the quality of our transmission. Now let's take a moment to bless our children wherever they may be. We honor all our youth and children in our community and the world. We love you. We see you. You are Spirit's gift to us. Thank you for being in our lives. And so it is. Now, here are some of the awesome things on tap for you here at OCSL. This coming Wednesday, Practitioner Emeritus Dodie Cheney Fernandez will be speaking on Holy, Holy Uprising. That's holy with a W and holy without a W. Meditation is at 6:30 p.m. and service at 7 p.m. Calm, the Compassionate Attention to Loss group, meets today and the first Sunday of each month at 12:30 p.m. The theme is Good Grief, Grieving as an Activity of Love. We've all had a chance to experience that lately. As we come into the dry season, the garden needs help to get water on a regular basis. Contact Zoe DeMuro or Margot Tabbitt for more information. If you haven't been down there lately, it is looking gorgeous. Everything is in bloom. Check the Village News for contact information. The Board of Trustees and Ecclesiastical Leadership Team has sent out a letter detailing what to expect in the coming months while we are on our path to release our beloved Reverend Jeff and bring in a new senior minister. So make sure to check your email. And if you didn't receive it, you can read it this afternoon in a special edition of the Village News that's scheduled to go out at noon today. Since we're on the topic, let me put on my board president hat for a moment. I have two things I want to mention. First, we know that times of profound change like these can trigger lots of feelings and concerns. And we all know how the human mind works, that when people only have partial information, they make stuff up to fill in the blanks or accept opinions as facts. I know the letter we sent will help fill in some of the blanks. And the most important thing to remember right now is really that everyone is working for the greatest yet to be for our community. And all of you are a part of creating whatever comes next. So stay open and creative and loving. And if you have any concerns or needs that aren't being met, please reach out to the board members and ELT. We are here to support you. And you'll see that in the weeks to come, there will be many opportunities to discuss where we are now and where we're going. Thank you for being a part of our village. Second, many of you know that Reverend Sally will be letting go of her positions here at OCSL to dive into the freedom of the open road. On behalf of the board and ELT, I want to thank her for the many supportive ways she has shown up for the community. We wish her all the best in her next adventure. And I think this traditional Irish blessing seems appropriate. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Bless you, Reverend Sally. Now we are doing this if we were doing this in person, we'd be handing Sally flowers and gifts. But since we are remote, Reverend Sally, check your email. We have many more groups, ministries, and events happening here at the Center for Spiritual Living. For information, I invite you to check our website at oaklandcsl.org. This is Information Central during this time of cyber connection, which may not be much longer. We don't have a precise reopening date, but sometime maybe in late June is certainly a possibility, and we'll be keeping you in the loop on that. So now, to wrap up, please read along with me as I read the vision and mission statement. Say it with gusto. The vision of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living is to joyfully reveal the love and oneness of God. We are welcoming and inclusive spiritual community dedicated to individual transformation and collective growth. Our purpose is to love, inspire, and serve our community and the world through education, music, prayer, and play. And so it is. It is my pleasure now to hand the baton to Constance Chapman. I know you're out there, Constance.
It'll be a lot easier to do that if I turn on my camera and my mic. So thank you, Robert.
Who would have thought?
I'm so used to being behind the scenes that it's hard to sometimes get in front. So welcome, everyone. My name is Constance Chapman. I'm a licensed practitioner here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And I have two readings today. The first one is by Florence Scovel-Shinn. So we see, to play successfully the game of life, we must train the imaging faculty. A person with an imaging faculty trained to image only good brings into his life every righteous desire of his heart: health, wealth, love, friends, perfect self-expression, the highest ideals. And from our founder, Ernest Holmes, in the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want because of fear. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of man. And so just taking those words into your heart. And just taking a breath. Knowing that with every breath, you are breathing God. That God is breathing you. And how good it is to know that God is all there is. How good it is to know that there is only that one energy, that one spirit, that one mind, that one heart. Just like the slide that Peter put up with the vision and mission statement that had our window in so many different forms behind it, in so many different vistas. We are one in so many different vistas. That we show up in so many different ways. And it's all God and it's all good. And we just need to hold that good in our minds, in our hearts. And so how good it is to know that that's who and what my life is. And how good it is to know that that is the life of everyone on this call. And so I just know that this good is working through each one of us today. That this good, this energy we call God is speaking Reverend Sally today as she gives her address, as she tells us about her adventures and what led her to decide to go on those adventures at this point in time. And I know that we all sit with open hearts and open minds to accept the message that she has for us. And I know that whatever happens today is good and very good. And I'm so grateful for knowing this truth. I'm so grateful for knowing the truth of the one. Knowing the truth that that one, whether it shows up, whether it looks like an open door or a closed door, it is the one. And so I just release this word into the law. I let it go because the law only has one word, and that word is yes. And so please join me in saying, and so it is. And so now I'd like to turn this over to Kevin Omega, who are going to, I know, take us higher and higher. Thank you.
There is a power, presence, one life of all, and no other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love that can only be God's love. Oh, yes, I know that I walk. Oh, yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a wisdom and a knowing, a loving and a truth. Whatever you need to know will come in God's way for you. Oh, just say until it's yours. I will pray and I won't move on till I know, oh, that I walk in the love of God. For the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere. I can see it everywhere, feel it everywhere, and I know in my heart, yes, the power and the glory and the love of God is everywhere. Feel it, it's everywhere. I can see it, it's everywhere. I know in my heart that, yes, I walk in the love of God. There is a power, a presence, one life of all. No other power can exist outside of the infinite. One love that can only be God's love. Oh, yes, I know that I walk. Oh, yes, I walk in the love of God. Walk in the love of God. Yes, I walk in the love of God. God. Where is our Reverend Sally Bartholomew? Where is she? We want to see you.
Thank you, Omega Ray and Kev Choice. That is the question of the day, isn't it? Where is Reverend Sally? Well, I will tell you right away that Reverend Sally is camped outside of the Grand Canyon National Park, and it is glorious here. The love of God, the beauty of God, the joy and the depth of God is fully present right here and right now. Good morning, Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I am grateful to be joining you here today. Do you hear it? Do you feel it? Oh, and right here where I am, can you smell it? Something greater is calling. This month's theme, May already, is holy with a W, holy with an H, uprising. And today's topic, this adventure called life. You know, as Constance, our pulpit assistant for the day, read, and Ernest tells us, in the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want because of fear. To overcome fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of man and or woman. And you can read more about that in the Science of Mind textbook. So now is the time to overcome fear, to leap into the great adventure called life. Now, when I was originally assigned to speak on this particular date, I had no idea how true this statement would be for me. So, what's the meaning of the word adventure? Well, the etymology or the word history of the word adventure includes occurrence, risk, event, and chance. Given this and our topic of this adventure called life, we are invited this week to look at where and the ways that we are allowing this one life, this one precious life, to show up. We are taking holy risks to evolve. Where are we doing this? How often are we taking chances, seeking opportunities to let our spiritual magnificence be our experience? Have you ever found yourself on a spaghetti bowl of a highway where the on ramps and the off ramps, they're circling around, up and over, down and under, maybe even creating a sense of fear and confusion on a road that had previously been pretty straight and plain? Well, I know I have. Peter, can you share the slide with us to give us a visual of what I'm talking about? We'll get a picture in a minute here. Here we go. So this is what I'm talking about. One of the spaghetti bowl highways that I remember best from my motorhome travels in the mid 80s. It's an intersection of Highway 410 and I-10 in San Antonio, Texas. And this picture gives you an idea of the confusion and fear that lately have been swirling in my thoughts and my feelings since Reverend Jeff passed. Thanks for sharing that picture for us. So the question is, what's next? How do I proceed? Well, I'm sure that you've seen highways like the one we just showed you in the Bay Area, and maybe you are yourself experiencing a bit of confusion and grief and fear as we go through this time of transition. Driving through these interchanges can feel so overwhelming and
Go away.
thrilling at the same time. Now, I wonder when I'm in this situation, where does the exit lead? What if I miss my exit or I take the wrong exit? What if I take the right exit according to my own plan, but I end up where I didn't want to go? Well, metaphysically, I know that by focusing on my confusion and fears of what could go wrong, well, I will likely attract to myself some expression of that confusion and fear. In my highway scenario, I might attract another driver who cuts me off or who won't let me take my exit, or I might have to make a U turn or otherwise redirect myself. Where's the risk? If there's only one thing happening, divine intelligence coming into form, then we are wholly, whole, perfect, and complete, holy, divine, and sacred, because God, the divine source of everything, comes into form by means of us. So, what's to fear? Where's the risk? I think the risk is in playing small. Science today shows us that the universe responds to us, how we think and feel. I've said it before, E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. And we are creating our life experience. Often, we hold back from new experiences because of fear of failure. But truly, the biggest risk, if there is one at all, is in not opening to our infinite possibilities. Find God. That's the adventure. Now, what I know from religious science and my ministerial training is to trust my inner guidance, my GPS, God Positioning System. Using my GPS, I am assured of heading in the right direction for my highest good. And that results in the highest good for all when we each do that. My GPS has never steered me wrong. It led me to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living in the first place. I was able, even when I doubted my GPS, to do a U turn to get back on track. And so can you. Prayer and silent contemplation, they helped to redirect me when I get off course. All prayers are answered. Remember that, because the universe always says yes. Now, my prayer partner and I, we routinely pray for clarity, for divine guidance, and we're clear and we trust Spirit's direction. As I said, prayer works, just not always according to what I thought was my plan or timeline. Ernest tells us there is an urge in our minds to grow and expand, to break down the barriers of previous limitations, and to ever widen our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence, an irresistible force, and it constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. And that's what Ernest says in his book, Living Without Fear. So sometimes life gives us signs, signposts that clearly indicate it is time for us to exit the highway. It is time to make a change and go on a new adventure. How does your GPS system work? Well, the way my GPS system works is by giving me these signposts. It stirs my soul and has me thinking, Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It's a spiritual practice, looking for the signposts and allowing my GPS to guide my life. Talking about signposts and exits, as Robert shared earlier in his announcements, this is my exit as a staff minister at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Life is calling me on a new adventure. My love for the Oakland Center and its village and its people is strong. And it's this love that supports me in taking this risk. Although, all right, I will admit, there was a straw that metaphorically broke the camel's back. The truth is that Spirit is calling me into a greater adventure. And this morning, I share with you my farewell message, as I said, from the Grand Canyon National Park and a place of clarity of vision and divine guidance. That is the ultimate yes to adventure. Peter, can you share the next slide for me? Thank you. I'd like to introduce you all to Gracie, my new traveling and virtual spiritual center. We are calling ourselves the Consciousness Caravans. And as you might be able to tell, I'm inside Gracie today. You know, over the course of this past year with COVID, my husband Dave, our dog Jackson, and we've sheltered in Gracie several times. Sometimes to get away from the smoke of the California firestorms, and sometimes simply to follow Spirit's lead. Something greater is calling me. I've been ignoring it for a while, thinking I had to complete my plan and do it the way it's always been done. Everybody told me it should be done. You know, get your license, serve as a staff minister at an established center before you attend to Spirit's calling. Get ordained first was the call of fear. Yeah. You know, the first class that I took, and I may have shared this before in my ministerial training, was entitled Your First Ministry. And then I caught the idea of a mobile traveling ministry, serving the RV community and beyond. The details, you know, they're revealing themselves as we go as to what this ministry will offer. We are taking God to the national parks. We are taking religious science to the national parks. And we are interacting with those who are here, opening to the reality of God fully present right here and right now. Have you ever seen the movie Nomadland? I know it won 3 Oscars, including Best Picture this year. And that movie gives partial insight into one aspect of the community that is calling me. There are many of us that love the freedom and openness that the nomad lifestyle offers. My vision boards for 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2021 are all full of RV pictures and campgrounds. So, yes, the signs were there. So, I realized that my releasing my regular staff minister position, this exit from the center, it provides space for a greater good to reveal itself. Thanks for sharing the picture, Peter. All right, everyone, breathe with me here. Lift your hand, clench a fist. Now, turn within your heart. Allow your imagination to feel the yes of spirit. Now open your hand. In order to receive, one must release and open to the new adventure. One thing Rev Jeff taught me is that we cannot control the timing, the length, the quality, or even the given set of circumstances of our life. And yet, we can be aware of and living from our awareness of God. He also taught me how to be observant of myself and others. He taught me how to see the way things are working or not working now, in the present moment. And in his own Columbo like way, he'd ask questions, seemingly naive or simple questions. What would kindness do? How may I bring love to this? As a minister and practitioner, I am called to focus on the love, the yes, not the fear. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back is important in my story, but only as the catalyst. It's not the end of my story. And I'm pretty sure that each of us has a story of anger or fear or victimhood that we could tell, a straw story, so to speak. The risk is not in moving beyond the straw story. The risk is in getting stuck in it and living from that perspective, making decisions from that place and attracting more anger, more fear, and more opportunities to play the victim. Remember, one of our first principles of religious science? God is all there is. There are no victims here, unless we continue to claim this for ourselves or for each other. There is nothing to fear but fear itself. My personal experience reflects many of the fears that I grew up with. And some of them I am still discovering and releasing as I observe myself and my life experiences in given situations. I've had people, significant others, my dad, certain practitioners in my life try to make me a victim of circumstances of their creation and try to make me think I was a victim of those circumstances. When another person affirms my or your state of consciousness of victimhood, the little r reality, they are doing me and you and themselves a disservice. They totally missed the opportunity to help me and themselves grow spiritually into our own individualized selves with a capital S our God selves, to own our power and take the risks to be God. These experiences that I've had in the past, they're good in that they taught me to listen even closer for God's voice and guidance within myself, my heart, my GPS. When I pray with my prayer partner and I get to explore my reality, the little R and the veils and the blocks to my good, I get to observe for myself what beliefs I'm living from. Only then, with that knowledge, can I choose which beliefs are mine, which to keep as part of my God expression, my individualized life of the divine. And I intentionally choose again and again to follow my yes, making whatever U-turns are necessary. With unshakable confidence, I participate fully and freely in the adventure called life. This ability and right to choose truth is not a delegated power that has been assigned to me or you that can subsequently be taken away, although I can unknowingly give it away, especially when misguided by someone of authority who I should be able to trust. The power to choose is a God-given right. It is omnipresent wherever I am. It is omniscient, my all-knowing navigation system, that GPS, and it is omnipotent, the one and only power that, yes, may be used for polar opposite results, good, bad, up, down, but it's one coin with two sides. The power of choice is mine. It is yours. The way that I respond or react is mine. This is the power of religious science, the realization that that we individually can choose what's right for us. I am, you are encouraged to seek my answers within my GPS system. Do you see yourself as a victim of circumstance or as a whole co-creator with spirit? Are you constantly looking for signposts of victimhood? You know, I hear loud and clear that yes, and am choosing to follow where it leads me. I know it, the divine, never leads me astray, even if I do not see the entire course of the path I'm stepping onto. I trust God. Letting go of the good, I open to and embrace the greater good. I invite you to do the same. Listen within. Follow your GPS and its divine guidance and clarity. Rev Jeff taught me very well, and he established a place, a feeling of sanctuary here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And I am trusting and knowing that I take that knowledge with me. I am the two most powerful words I know. I am the vehicle of spirit and sanctuary. What adventure is calling you? Investigate ways you hold yourself back from life. Uncover your fears and your veils. Are you afraid of failure? Afraid to appear ridiculous or foolish to others? Are you allowing yourself to be triggered by ideas associated with your victim story? Reorient yourself to your divine heritage. Become aware of your desires. And when you find yourself constricting or reacting unconsciously, spend time in nature, in silence, and listen for that divine yes. It is there. This is the adventure of the day. Finding God. Step out and up to your spiritual magnificence. Reconcile the divine unfoldment, your evolution, with your own enthusiastic participation. Choose wholeness. Thank you for being on this adventure with me. I'll be seeing you on the road again in our consciousness caravans. Blessed be. Thank you. Let us turn to prayer. As we breathe in, I allow my awareness to turn within to my GPS system, recognizing the one power, the one presence, that which is living its life in, through, and as me, in, through, and as every beloved, everywhere. Yes, God is. Yes, I am. I am the vehicle of spirit. I am consciousness, and it is good and very good. I consciously release fear. I consciously release stories of victimhood, and I open to that divine, holy, holy adventure called life.
The works. It's in the works. The seed has been planted. The faith keeps showing up. Yes.
And as I continue in this consciousness of love and oneness, I speak a word for this month's nonprofit partner, Moyo Institute, Inc., knowing that their vision is to make the world a better place. Their goal is to create through consciousness, inner wisdom, achieving peace, equality in diversity, and building a world in which everyone is equal. I speak a word of gratitude, deep, deep gratitude for our planet, Mother Earth, for her beauty, her resilience, and our increasingly mindful stewardship of her. I bless our youth and the youth of the world, knowing that they are guided by loving minds and hearts within themselves and within their guardians. I bless all those in service to creating a world that works for everyone. Love, comfort, and healing for all those impacted by challenges in whatever form. for Audra Jones, Tina Marie Scott, Alex Poulsen and Eleanor Vincent, for Deborah Roca, Ricardo Roca, Tina Marie Scott, Denise Johnson, Michael Mendez, and Dodie Baker. And I speak a word of comfort for all those impacted by weather and COVID and any other challenges. I speak a word of peace and comfort for Reverend Jeffrey Anderson, family and friends, and the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I speak a word of peace and comfort for Harvey Fronglass, brother of Judith Fronglass and family, for Allison Montgomery, mother of Kai Ballo and family, and for Alberta Samuels, aunt of Deborah Jackson and family. And I invite you at this time to turn within your own heart. And if there's someone in your heart seeking prayer, speak your name and your prayer's name at this time. And as we allow the names to continue to be said, I am so grateful. Grateful to know that God is this life and it is good. Adventure is calling, and the answer is yes. From this place of gratitude, I release this prayer. I release my word to the law that says yes, that makes it so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, beloveds. I love you. And now it's time for our conscious giving. This is our opportunity to give of the fruits, to allow the circulation to flow through our finances. Peter, if you could bring up the affirmation, we can all say it together here. Hand on your heart, recognizing your gift comes from there. The gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. Thank you so much. And where do we go to make our donation? We go to the website, www.oaklandcsl.org. And we can also text 510-327-3431. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn it over to our nonprofit partner and introduce her so that she can tell us a little bit more. This is Gwen Mitchell. Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you, Reverend Sally. I must say that I'm really moved and inspired by your message this morning. It really touched me very deeply. And thank you for speaking the word on our behalf. I'd like to also thank other members of the OCSL team, Susan Brecker, who is a joy to work with, Judith Roberts, who introduced us, and Dylan McClinton talk. And also for everyone who really helped prepare us for this morning, Beth, Aaron, Constance, and Peter, and getting us ready for this presentation. Before COVID, we held a series of courses at OCSL, and your center was by far the site that participants enjoyed the most. So let me start by just sharing a few words about Moyo Institute. The word Moyo means heart, soul, or center of in various African languages. It also means rejoice, melt, hello, and full. And it also means pattern in Japanese. We chose Moyo because it captures the essence of the work that we aspire to accomplish in the world. And Peter, if you'll show the first slide. As you can see, our mission is to offer heart-centered educational experiences that foster inner peace, well-being, creativity, connection, and oneness. We do this in a number of ways. We organize courses that are taught from India. We offer and teach courses locally, and we engage in special projects. The next slide. 2 courses that we organize are the Journey into Happiness and Create. Participants are led through ancient spiritual teachings and contemplative processes. The courses are powered by an enlightened master in India, so they go beyond the intellect and result in transformation. Next slide, Peter. We also offer a variety of sacred music events and music genres, and I like to mix it up sometimes, adding kirtan and gospel on the same program, piano improvisation, sound baths. And we also host meditation. Members of our community host meditation every evening except Sunday. And on Wednesdays, that meditation is an open eyes transmission of the Supreme Light. Next slide, Peter. In terms of projects, we raise funds and provide scholarships for young people to attend the World Youth Changemakers program in India. To date, we've supported participation of 30 youth. The World Youth Changemakers program goal is to help young people evolve into conscious leaders who can affect society and the world by providing them with an understanding of how to cultivate and sustain presence, passion, dedication, attention, fearlessness, and freedom. We've also taught meditation to incarcerated women, and the women were so powerfully affected the first evening that they circulated an unsolicited petition to have the program continue. You can have an access to highlights of their comments on our website. I'll just share a couple with you. One woman said, during meditation, my mother came to me and said she was sorry for not wanting me when she found out she was pregnant. All I felt was love for her. There's so much chaos in our lives. This is a comment from another participant, at least in my life, that when I first felt the quietness, it scared me. But then I realized that there was nothing to be afraid of. I didn't have to think about anything. I felt so good just not having to worry about anything for a little while. Another woman said, I'd forgotten about the beauty, about the goodness of people. Tonight, I felt the beauty. And yet another participant said, I am free. I'm no longer troubled by being here. I'm no longer worried about what's happening outside. I'm truly free. And we asked one of the guards if they had noticed any changes, and we were told that they could actually feel the difference in the women for a couple of days following the meditation until canteen day, when folks would get hyped up on sugar. And the guard suggested that we should come every day to lead the meditation there. We also offer deep listening and healing spaces for communities who are working through issues. Next slide, Peter. Our newest project that we're hoping will gain traction is a sunset meditation class atop the Richmond BART parking garage. We want to contribute to creating this energy field in Richmond. It's off to a slow start, but we're hopeful. I live in Richmond now, and so I'm personally committed to bringing the work deeply into the community. So Peter, if you'll show the video. Even though there's social distancing restrictions, we're finding a way to be nourished. And I appreciate all of you for coming out and participating in this wonderful experience. So I want to invite you to sit with your legs crossed or your feet flat on the floor and your spine erect. I'll be demonstrating mudras or hand positions that will direct the energy to different parts of our body. And I want you to relax and just enjoy this experience this evening. So thank you. If you know folks in that community, please feel free to welcome them to our program. And actually anyone is welcome from wherever you happen to be. I want to thank all of you for your presence in the community and the conscious work of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And I want to thank you again for recognizing Moyo as your nonprofit partner. We're proud to be a partner with your center. And now I'll turn it back over to Constance.
Thank you, Gwen. I just am. I'm so honored that we are partnering with you. It's such incredible work. And actually, I remember when the first time you came and did an event. It was quite large at the center, and it actually what it did was it precipitated us into getting good Wi-Fi. So thank you for that. That was an unintended consequence. I'm sure that you didn't even know was happening from what you did. Also like to thank Kev and Omega, who always do such an incredibly beautiful job of providing spiritual sound for us. And I just want to thank Reverend Sally. I just know how it's just such an honor to see how someone can take anger and pain and transform it into such joy and wisdom. And so I just want to thank you again. And I have to say, Reverend Sally, that I wish you well, and I'm going to miss you like crazy. So make sure you get to Dr. Dan occasionally. So if you would like prayer today, Robin Rice Olmsted is going to be running the prayer room. And if you want prayer at any other time, please go to the website under About Us and look at all the list of the practitioners. Any practitioner will provide prayer whenever you can get hold of them. And if you would like a free 30-minute session, which is just a little longer time to explore what's going on for you with Anchored in Prayer, most of our practitioners are offering that. And so thank you. And I'd like now to have us do our closing affirmation. With unshakable confidence, I participate fully and freely in the adventure of life. And so now I'd like to turn it back to Kev and Omega. Thank you.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But I can say if you are discouraged and struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it go. And this is what I have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles and no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on, y'all. I release, I let go. I let the spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles and no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yeah. Yes, I'm only here. I'm only here. We're only here for God. Only here, only here, only here for God. We love you, Reverend Sally. Miss you already. OCSL, where you at? Where you at, OCSL? Happy Sunday.